As Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon which can use to change the world. However, education is not free. It takes time, money, and emotional investment. To what extent can financially investment have an impact on young learners' experience? We will explore the differences between a public school and a private school, and how it affects a young student's growth. We will be interviewing and understanding the experiences of students that have transferred from the public environment to the private learning experience. Madison Ireland, Sean Collins, and Tyler Albert have all gone through this experience and are subjects for today.
Did you want to move or switch schools?
I wanted to switch schools
Why?
because the environment that they were teaching me in, I didn't think that they were a very good teaching, and that they just like gave out like I know my writing and my paragraphing. I didn't even know how to write a sentence. I didn't know how to put commas, periods. I didn't even know how to put a capital letter. And they just gave me A's for it.
At first, but then I thought it'd be an experience. It would be a lot funner, so I did.
No, not really. I wasn't even originally going to come here at first, but then I found the option and it just seemed better than the original school I was going to go to.
So what were your first impressions of the new school?
My impressions were, holy cow, this place is like more organized than my other school.
Everybody was weird and crazy, but then I thought they're a lot more welcoming than everybody at the other school.
It was really weird and everyone was dancey and spazzy and strange.
How did you like the students and teachers compared to your old school?
Oh wow, it's pretty. Well, in my old school, they were how do I say this in an appropriate way, trash. I didn't like teachers that much because they didn't teach us. They just went on the lesson. They just kept on going with the role of, if a kid didn't know something, he just had to go on. They couldn't explain it.
Compared to my old school, the teachers here are a lot more involved with the students academically, and the kids and the students and the friends and everything are a lot more welcoming and nice and sweet and caring.
At my old school, the teachers really didn't care exactly about the students. They just did their job and tried to get through the day. They didn't really care, and they were basically just miserable all the time, and they weren't involved like at all. And they just weren't very, I don't know, they just weren't as nice as these teachers are.
And how about the students?
The students will the ones here, they're a lot more nice and accepting, and they're more like considerate and just more mannered to other people.
What did you do to adapt to your new environment?
Well, I got more.
Did you start to work hard? Did you?
Yeah, I got more focused on the topics and learning.
Nothing, I just did the same thing I did in my old school.
And it worked?
Yeah, just be you.
I didn't really do anything really differently. Pretty much the same thing.
What is the difference between your old school compared to your new school?
Well, this new school, I like the new school better because the teachers actually engage with you, and help you as when you learn. But in my old school, they didn't have tutorials or they wouldn't explain the problem
They
or
want to give you
anything.
extra help.
Yeah.
There is a lot of differences. Like it was hard adapting almost because my other school was so big and this school was so small that it was a big change. The teachers were a lot more involved, like I said, and yeah, that's it.
Well, first of all, my old school was a lot bigger. Like there was about 3 or 4 classes per grade, and this is much more like local sort of, and much more like together.
Are the teachers extra supportive? Do they
Yes.
go out of their way to help you?
Yeah, I feel like they actually want you to succeed in your life and want you to move on and get a great job. In my old school, they didn't want to do that.
Yeah, they are a lot more. Like here we have tutorials in my other school. If you got an F, that was it. There was no help or anything.
I think the ones here are a lot more supportive, and they actually care about individual students.
Have your grades improved from your old school and from your move?
Well, my old school, well, not really. My old school, I didn't know how to do anything. Like, I didn't know how to write a paragraph or anything like that. Or they didn't teach you how to take tests and stuff like that. So, no, but in the first half I was always getting low grades. But once I started learning the learning environment, I started working up to A's and B's.
All right.
A little bit, but here like how do I say this? What's the word? The standards are a lot higher than the other school, so it was harder to make better grades. But then I guess the teachers were involved. It's easier to make better grades at the same time.
Yes.
How much do you think, like, generally?
Well, for one, like I said, the teachers actually care here, and they're willing and happy to help you, instead of them being dreading helping you and not caring at all.
Do you want to go back to your old school, or do you feel that it's much better environment here at your new school?
No, I don't want to go back to my old school. My old school, I don't think, if I actually went back to my old school, I think my old school would just do the same thing that they did, just keep on giving you A's. They didn't really look at your schoolwork or anything. They just passed you an A. And now I'm going to stay here because they have a better...
All right.
I wouldn't go back now.
You wouldn't?
No.
I would rather stay in private than public because it's just much more, it's a better learning experience.
Would you change anything about the new school, the new environment that you're in?
The new environment was good actually, but I would like to change some of the things. Is like I would say they're like, I feel like this school is a little bit too strict
Too strict?
on things like our class things. Like we can't like since this school is all about like the MI and education and stuff, and once you succeed, so they're stricter. I don't like that as much because you'll get in trouble like if you do one thing and then you'll have something taken away, and I just think that's really strict. In my old school, they would just let you go.
Great.
Something I would change here at the school is all the really strict, pointless rules, like no makeup and no jewelry, and I'd change those.
The only thing is there's a lot of rules that don't really apply to the education that much, and they just do it for just to be more formal, and I don't really like that.
And lastly, do you have any regrets about moving, about anything? You feel that everything you chose in you was great? A good choice? Alright, great. Thank you, Deshawn.
Nope.
All the choices you made were great, and you don't want to go back and nothing?
Nope.
Great. Alright, thank you, Madison.
No, not really. It was a pretty good change.
No, that's great. All right, thank you, Tyler.
After interviewing and allowing the students to reflect on the transition from the experience in a public school to a private school, it seemed as if the students preferred to excel in a private rather than public. The three students, Madison Ireland, Tyler Albert, and John Collins, had described their learning experience at a public school to be unconcerned and uncooperative towards the benefits of individual students, compared to how a private school guaranteed improvement and extra help where needed and when needed. Overall, it has been a pleasure to see firsthand how real-life and experienced students feel about the comparison between these two very different types of schools. Hope you enjoyed the film and have taken into consideration yourself about which type of school from the documentary you prefer.